All right, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It is now by my watch 7:01. So I'd like to go to the first item of business, which is to call the meeting of order, which we just did. The second item of business is to consider and act upon the minutes of June 17th. We did not have a July meeting, as thank you for reminding me, because of in honor of the first selectman passing. So the last minutes we have are from June, which would have been sent out last time. I did not resend them. Did everyone get a chance to look at them, and were there any edits? We can defer them if we feel like we haven't had a chance to really review them. We can defer them to our meeting if we want.
I'm fine with them.
Yeah, I was fine with them.
Good.
Okay, so if hearing no comment.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor of approving the June minutes, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, we are now moving to action item 3, which is to get an update and discussion on the status of active projects. And Bill Hurley is joining us. Thank you, Bill. I will let you take it.
All right.
All right, there are 4 of them I think I could give you. Hopefully I can remember the 4 of them. We'll just start off with the Pine Creek dredge. That project there with his Pine Creek Association is trying to get the creek dredged. The town has not committed any funding, but we have committed to help them get a permit or piggyback a permit or a COP, a certificate of permission, that we had filed when Hurricane Sandy or Superstorm Sandy had come. So one of the things at the preliminary meeting that Alexandra had done, she's like a consultant with the Pine Creek Association, and she met with DEP, and they said they needed to know an area for disposal of any dredging material. They have approximately 9 or 10 people who have agreed to allow some of the clean dredging to go on their property, which was a major hurdle. So we are planning to get together sometime in August or early September and just discuss the next steps, which would probably be filing the permit with the DEP. So at least get that in place. Permit is typically, if they review it and accept it, it's usually good for 5 years. And I think you could have a renewal period after that. So that should buy us time.
How long do you think the project will take?
Well, the last time they did the dredging, it was like 1 season. They typically do the dredging sometime in November to like March, sometime in there.
And who's going to pay for it?
That's the biggest question we have, yep. It may have to be the Pine Creek Association. We do have a letter of support from the fire department, that there might be some environmental benefits and fire prevention benefits, by keeping the fragmites low or wet versus dry.
Because they're a fire hazard.
Right, exactly.
Alexandra also said that she thinks there might be grants that she might be able to apply to get at least some of them. I don't know if there's a match to those grants, but assuming they get a grant, that could partially fund it as well.
Thanks, Becky. The South Pine Creek tie gates, we have an update. They actually have a meeting tomorrow, a construction meeting. But just to give everybody an update.
Who has a meeting?
This is the consultant race, Megan Jane, the project engineer, and the contractor, Terry Construction. All the foundation piles have been installed. Both upstream and downstream footings and head walls have been constructed. The 60-inch drainage pipes have been installed. Backfilling is in progress. According to the schedule that they have here, they are waiting for the tie gate deliveries, which they have stated that they should be arriving 8/25, so about a week from now. And then the project will continue. They would pretty much be done with most of the work at the end of the year, and then the restoration and planting would occur in the early spring of 2026. And that schedule can be found on the engineering website under flood mitigation projects. If not, if anybody wants, I can make copies of the schedule here. Another one was just a little, as you know, we have some flooding underpasses, and we've had Circa, take a look at that. We're always looking for any ideas. One of the things that I noticed with Round Hill and South Benson, they flow to Turney Creek, and during an inspection and a minor repair that we have going on right now, as you know, with little rain and low tide, I was able to go under and see that the pipes are about halfway full. So I'm trying to get the state on board to either have them follow the DOT's general permit. Maybe we get lucky and can do it quicker. Maybe we could have them do the work, or at least get the permission to do the work. And so I'm working on that and meeting with the state next week on that.
What are those two underpasses again?
It's Round Hill Road and North Benson. If I said South Benson, I meant North Benson.
What are they gonna do, clear out pipes? Is that what-
The pipes, one of the pipes that go under Old Post Road, that's where all this water goes, they're half full. There's blockages, debris. So I'm working to get that cleared out. It can only help the situation. It can't hurt. And lastly, I know some members interested members of the public have asked for downtown resiliency plans. I have them here, that if anyone wants to go to the engineering department to take a look. I don't know if, I haven't had a chance to put them on file or whatever. I haven't even given them to the consultant. What I will say is that you guys.
It's gotta be a good.
First ones, the first ones to kind of take a look at it. In meeting with the consultant, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of utility conflicts, probably over 50, I'd have to estimate. And so, and because there's like 0.1% slope from Umpqua, by the library, Umpqua and Post Road, that area, all the way up to the end, where the outlet is off of Ruane Street. We were hoping we could get significant box culverts to whisk away the water, so to speak. And right now, in order to make everything work, they have unfortunately had to reduce the size of the pipes. And if I recall, I think the largest one is 9 by 4, or 9 by 3.5, I'm sorry, 9 by 3.5. It also requires a complete reinstallation of the sanitary sewer along Sherman Street. And as I said before, there's lots of conflicts on the Post Road and on Ruane Street as well.
What do you mean by conflicts?
Conflicts mean that the utilities have to be adjusted to either go up or down, or we have to create some sort of chamber and have the box culvert go through it. So it gets very expensive.
And a box culvert is what?
A box culvert is a concrete box culvert, rectangular in size. Used on, as I said, on this one, it would be 9 foot wide by 3.5 feet high. And, that's the inside. So the outside, you have to add another foot and another foot. So the outside is 9 by 5.5, but we're only getting the 3.5 feet per conveyance. And
these go where?
these go from downtown near the library, say, and they go from there, a little bit of Umpqua Place as well, and they go all the way zigzagging on, going through Sherman Green, which is another big controversy. We'd have to dig up that area. We'd have to go down a little section of Reef Road, then we go down Sherman Street, and we end up, I think, along Hurd Street, then Wayne, then we go through, we have an easement, but we go through private property, abutting private property, where we'd have to get larger easements in order to do the work. So there's a lot involved. Initially, initially they were thinking about 9 million maybe. Now we're probably looking at 20 to 30 million.
What's the length of the project?
The length of the project is 4,200 feet.
Is this part of the master plan, or is this a separate, or?
This is one of the items listed on the master plan.
But neither of the other two were, correct? The Pine Creek dredge and the South Pine Creek idle.
I'd have to get back to you on them.
The tide gates are part of the master plan.
Okay.
They are, because that's right, we went and looked at them that day. Okay.
And I'd rather give you no information than the
Sure.
wrong information. So thank you, Becky.
Is underpass part of the master?
Yes, it is. Underpasses are part of.
That's what I thought, yeah. Okay, thank you.
And then, so anyway, they're looking at potentially 20 to 30 million dollars. And when all is said and done, it looks like this project would be sized for a 5-year storm. Forget it. And so that is a really major blow. We were hoping for a 25-year storm and maybe a 10 to 15 million dollar project.
So this was recommended though by the Sampson and Weston, or was this?
No, this was one of the ideas that the town had, because as you know, the downtown of Fairfield Center gets flooded
Right.
whenever we get significant storms. And so
Okay.
they had done a concept review saying that we might be able to, look at this. And we said, yeah, go ahead, do a full design for the outflow or the outfall, and then at least preliminary. So these are only 30% designed.
The
they
town
are
did this, not
surveyed.
Sampson. So Sampson might come with something totally different, or?
No, this is SLR was the consultant, so this is what we have here. Weston and Sampson, in terms of the master plan, we would send these to them. They would, record it as part of the master plan as a potential, and I use the word potential idea. Maybe they have some other alternative. I don't know. As I said, we just recently got these. And one of the things that I'll be looking at, and maybe Mega as well, is if we can find 1 or 2 restrictions and maybe improve, we can maybe do that. Because unfortunately, in order to improve downtown, you got to go the whole length of the way. And as Greg had mentioned, how long was it? It was over 4.
This dumps into where, the Mill River in the end? Is that what you're saying?
It actually dumps into Pine Creek. I don't know for anybody who's been around town long enough, by the old Fairfield Lumber, and then there's this St. Thomas Church. That's kind of where it pops out. I'm trying to think of any other information I could give you.
Where's the major inflow to the downtown area? No, I know what it is. But
The whole, the watershed, it really amounts to the train station parking lot, the center, that one, which is about 9 acres paved. You have all the downtown, Umpqua Place, as I mentioned before, from the railroad bridge where it goes over, all that goes down. You have Tomlinson School, because there's a culvert that goes underneath the railroad tracks. They have to cross underneath the railroad tracks. You have, maybe not quite, but close to the brick walk area on that side. And I would say certainly Miller Street, and from west from there to going back to east, that area. So that's the whole quote watershed. Then there's another smaller section for the Mill Plain Road underpass, and that kind of goes by the main church, not the church school, when I mentioned the church before, church school. the main church, and then that pops out by the Fairfield lumber. That's the other
Would that be
area.
low enough you'd be able to drain the Mill Plain underpass?
Well, there's one there now, but I don't know how much lower we can go. And another thing that puts into perspective, the existing invert is -2. And so they were saying that, for
What does that mean?
resilience, -2 feet below sea level. And so,
So
one of the
you're about a
proposals,
You're about a foot above mean high tide.
they were trying to keep it around
Mean
elevation.
low tide, I mean.
Low tide.
They were trying to keep at elevation 0 also for, you spend this kind of money, you want to make sure with rising sea levels and all that as
You're
well.
going down as you get in the water, you're exponentially increasing your costs.
Exactly. So right now, preliminarily, it doesn't look too good. It can't hurt to at least have it on record, have it as part of the master plan. As I said, we could have a couple people look at maybe, here's a bottleneck we could kind of improve. We did that about 10, 15 years ago. There was only like an 18-inch pipe going through one of these chambers of the phone company. And so we created another bypass or like a little sister pipe. Again, very small, only 18 inches because you have to avoid all the utilities. But at least that helped somewhat. So we will be looking to see if there's any smaller improvements. We were really hoping for, I'm just going to throw a number out there, it's made up, but 30 to 50% improvement for downtown. And, now we're going to be probably looking at little, 1 or 2% improvements along the way to help it. If we get a, 2 or 3, that might at least significantly help for some of the storms anyway, some of the smaller storms.
When the storms come that flood, are they 5-year storms or are they?
Well, they're all different. For the most part, you could get a high-intensity storm, like 2 inches per hour, and that might only be like a 10-year storm, but it's only 2 inches. And then within 20 minutes after it's flooded everything, it drains
This kind of
down.
watershed, it's more the short-term intensity than the long-term total rainfall.
Right.
Because when you hit it on impervious area, it just sheds off immediately.
So you're saying though this was good for 5-year storms. This isn't going to be very helpful. You're saying?
Well, it'd only be, there'd be, let me see, is it 20% chance that it could occur any year, and so it's not that.
It's a lot of
10-year
money.
storm, the
Yeah.
goal was 30 to 50% improvement for a 10-year, and we're getting.
Well,
Years.
I just use those percentage numbers as kind of a
Estimate.
guide.
Yeah. So 2 to 3% for a 5-year.
Those are just like I call them like little improvements to the
Yeah.
situation. Obviously, it depends on what storm, because the 100-year storm for a different intensity would be 8 inches or 8.4 inches in a 24-hour period. So that's completely a different type of storm than the high intensity that Greg was mentioning. And those are usually the ones that bomb out because it's, a large impervious area going, but relatively small if you compare it to a Rooster River watershed or Mill River watershed.
And there's no place to put the water.
No, that's the unfortunate thing. It's almost like a bowl, but not quite. But essentially, it's a bowl, and then you have to try to drain that out to the nearest water courses, and that's
The only thing you really have there would be the soccer field by the middle school.
yeah, and then that has its own drainage for the field itself, so at least that field's not contributing. So.
Try to get water, if you look to try to get water into that, that would be about the only, there's no really other places to do it.
I mean, other, City of New Haven and New York City have done these like little pocket rain gardens or tree wells. But again, those are going to be, you'd have to build like a couple of hundred of them to even see a little.
Their maintenance nightmares.
Again, not to totally discount them, but if we were really trying to reduce the the occurrence of these storms or the events, I think in a way we have done already some underground storage at Sherman Green. We've added some dry wells. We try to reduce some of the impervious surface. At the train station, we have a little section that's porous pavement. And again, they're all little incremental improvements. So this was one, rather than 1 or 2%, this was one we were hoping to have it, when we first started out, significant.
Doesn't sound like it's gonna be.
No, unfortunately, it doesn't right now. But if anybody, as I said, wants to, we'll keep a file.
So is the idea to move forward with this or shelve it?
I don't think so. I think we need to discuss it, but I think for $30 million at a 5% improvement, does not seem a good value. But I think we'll give it to Weston and Sampson and have them.
For only a 5-year storm.
So, and not only that, but the other thing to consider too is when you go for these grants, they usually want you to meet the 100-year storm.
Yeah.
So I really don't even know if if grants are even gonna fund this. So you throw that into the mix, it's gonna be very cost prohibitive, I think.
Bill, do you have any updates on the Rooster River detention basins or the area that you were looking to do some dredging?
Yeah, right now on that there is the Army. We've got the Army Corps. They did what they call a letter of a map revision for zoning that was required. So we've done that. DEP is about to, even though we have 2 or 3 already DEP permits, there was one other one that they were holding back until they heard from the Army Corps. And so on that one, we're just working with the city of Bridgeport. They wanted us to designate, much like that Pine Creek, where they want to know where the spoils are going. So we had to do that here. And the city of Bridgeport has one, maybe looking for 2 locations, and then that should solve that problem. We're still hoping to put the project out to bid in October so that we could start it in December or late November. That's still our goal. So we're going to be pushing hard, and I just got an email from the DEP today, so
Saying,
definitely on their radar. Oh, they wanted that additional
That's what they need.
information, and then that should be it.
what do you have if it starts in December, what would you say is its completion?
I think it's, again, there's 2 projects, if, depending on whether they can run concurrently or if they run separate. Obviously, the city of Bridgeport would love to have us finish most of the work before their golf season starts, but I think it's going to take more than 4 months. But at least if the bulk of the work can get done, we're,
So we'd be talking about April of '26.
yeah, ideally, and I use that word ideally.
Well, once it starts, I mean,
No, it'll be full
You can't
throttle.
stop.
Right.
so if it cuts into a little golf time, that's a problem.
Well, that's, as I said, we're trying to resolve that and do as much as they can. They might be able to do certain things, after hours or before, season starts, kind of thing, or, but those are the final details that we'll work
Sure.
out.
The dredging is affecting the golf course, or the golf course is the one we're building up the dam?
Yeah, the golf course one is, yeah.
The dam, okay.
The dredging, that's a different project.
Right. And so that's the golf course. What about Tuggs's Hill?
Hill is under the same schedule. And the other thing, concurrently, we're trying to get these permits in place, and then we're probably going to have to seek additional money, so we want to make sure we tackle that. So again, the goal is to hit the boards September, October.
Why, if this was previously funded, why do we need additional money?
2020, 2019, 2020 dollars. So prices have gone up double and triple from the time of COVID. Originally, this project was planning on using ARPA money, and that was designated, 2021, so.
But that was money has been set aside.
Some of that money, yeah, that money was transferred. So we do have, yes, we do have some money to start, but to.
What percentage of the ARPA funds do you think we have?
Oh, no, they switched it. They
not-
yeah, the ARPA funds are no longer.
They're not ARPA funds,
No, they're
right?
not ARPA
But
funds.
the ARPA funds were used for something else so that this project was to be fully funded, right?
It will be fully funded.
No, but that was the, so we took the ARPA funds that were supposed to be used,
And they
transferred to something else, good.
No, but they used that, I believe they've used that money and transferred that.
Yep.
This project hasn't lost any money, as far as I know. That's a question really for the budget people.
Who would that be?
David Becker.
But it needs more money, you're saying, because of inflation in 5 years' time.
Yeah, and additional costs. When we started this project, we didn't think there'd be these environmental concerns. We didn't know that the spillway was going to have to be designed for 1,000-year storm. I mean, there's a lot of different, permit conditions. We had no idea that they were going to require that. So that puts it all in perspective. But the town is definitely wants these projects to go forward, and being the fact that Bridgeport has contributed some money as well, and that, potentially 3,000 people are affected by this.
And then the dredging is, what's the status?
Ready for the Pine Creek? Yeah, we'll go
No,
back to-
for Rooster
The
River.
Rooster River dredging.
Oh, the Rooster River dredge. I'm sorry, that's what threw me off. That one there, we have a benchmark data, and we have the existing, and the survey is complete. So I just have to look at the data and come up with an estimate of what we want to do, and then we start the permit process now that we have some information.
So it needs an estimate. But that's you, right? That's.
Yeah.
Okay. What kind of time frame we talking about for that?
Well, again, hopefully I can get the permits in place, not approved, but in place sometime in this winter. And then maybe sooner, but I'll give you a realistic timeline.
Sure.
And then from there, it's just a matter of how DEP treats it. Whether they'll treat it as a full-blown permit, whether they treat it as a COP, I don't know.
Remind me, COP is what's
Certificate of permission.
permission?
Those take a lot shorter time. And then, depending on the funding source, we may have to do an additional permit as well, called the SEPA permit.
So it's still, the dredging is not funded currently.
The dredging is, there is some money that we have set aside as part of a $2.5 million state bond grant that we got, Urban Act grant. So in terms of the finance, what I would say on this is, this board, being honest, should not worry about the funding. However, if it's determined we do need additional money, which I think we do, but it hasn't been proven yet, we haven't gotten any final cost. What most likely we do is we'll put, we have money to reserve so that we could say, put it out to bid. So people know it's fun, but if the bids come in a little, higher, then we'll have to seek more money. That's basically. And then for that to come, then that's maybe where I would ask the Flood and Erosion Resiliency Board to support the project. If you guys, and I think you do, support the project, and, just in case there's some Board of Finance or RTM members that are a little unsure. And like I said before, the project will benefit not only Fairfield, but Bridgeport residents, but we're looking at like 3,000 residents, so it's definitely a project that's been, we've had a long time trying to get this project going.
1965?
No, not quite. It seems that way, but it was.
That was the first time I was looking.
Yeah, the initial ones were even before COVID.
I thought you dredged it before recently.
No, not the Rooster River is never, as far as my knowledge, it's never been dredged. We've looked in all the records. And the dikes and the berms that were constructed were around 1960, as Keith was alluding to. And a couple of storms, we were able to get rid of some debris, but we've never done any sediment removal. And about what now, it's probably 3 or 4 years ago that Keith led a small volunteer group to take out some of the
Friends of the Rooster River.
yeah. So, other than that, hopefully I went quick because I know you guys got a little bit of a time constraint here and wanted to at least cover as much as I could. But as always, if you have any questions, let me know, or if you want to look at plans, the ones that are available, I can certainly share with you.
Thanks.
Sure, Becky, was it?
No, thanks, Bill. Appreciate you coming today.
Sure. All right, thanks, everyone.
Okay, thanks a lot, Bill. Good seeing you.
Yep.
Thank you, Bill.
Another project that the capital projects team are running is the Turney Creek Riverside Drive tide gates. The last update we have from them is July 24th, and the contractors completed all the required work in the phase 1 coffer dam. The 3 culvert pipes and tide gates have all been installed. The road head walls were installed on the eastern and western side, and work for installation of phase 2 coffer dam sheeting has started. So that's where we are on that.
Where was that, Becky? I'm sorry, I didn't catch the beginning of that.
That was the Riverside Drive Creek tide gates.
Hello. You want, would you entertain a comment from the peanut gallery?
Sure.
So if one were to go by there, one would see that the sheet pile for the second phase is totally in place. They are driving the piles that will support the barrels.
Okay. Great.
So it's well moving along.
Yeah, that looks good.
And I think the only other project update, we were going to cover it in the Penfield, the notice of violation in a separate item. So I'll hold that. So let's go on to item number 4, update on the 2024-25 Master Flood Mitigation Resilience Plan. So the consultant had proposed two updates. One was a fluvial assessment, which would have basically meant rainwater and riverine flooding assessment in terms of impact. And the other special called meeting was a coastal modeling update. The coastal modeling update was going to be September 18th, and that is still on our calendars and still, I believe, happening. The pluvial was supposed to have been August 26th, and I'm not sure why, but the town has asked that to be rescheduled, and we do not have a new date at this time. I believe it's because there's a new project manager that is starting. As you know, Wendy was our original project manager. She's no longer with us. So Eli had taken over, and Eli has so many projects on his plate that he was not able to effectively manage this one. And so David Becker is now proposing to bring in a new project manager whose name is Mark, who's a new employee to the town. And he, I believe I'm not sure if he's going to be in capital projects, but I think he's also associated somehow with the emergency management group of the town.
What's Mark's last name, please?
I don't know that I know it. Let me look it up and I will send it to you if I can find it. I'm not even started yet. I am having a meeting with David Becker and Eli this Thursday to go over this person. And I'm also going to be reviewing roles and responsibilities of the Flood and Erosion Control Board versus the project manager as it relates to who attends meetings and who's basically guiding and steering the project, because I think there's some confusion. So that's sort of my update on the plan. Hopefully we can get it back on track. We are a bit delayed, as you know, but we're at least ready to start. Once we have these assessments and the coastal modeling, we can start the next phase. Any questions? Okay. The next agenda item actually was an update on the charter revision. I don't know if any of you read.
Okay, I'm sorry, was thinking what the next thing was going to be. So for the master plan, there were going to be additional site visits for?
I'm going to ask whether those have been done or not. My hypothesis, if they're planning to give us the inundation reports, that they've already done all the site visits and did not honor our request to have for a member attend them. And that's, I think, due to the fact that we just didn't have a project manager who was on top of that.
So the site visits have not been done to this day?
My understanding is they have been done, because I don't think they'd be giving us the assessment if they had not done them. But they did not honor our request to have a member of FIRB attend. And I will be bringing that up in our Thursday meeting. So the next agenda item is the charter revision. So as you know, we're in the process as a town of revising our charter. This will have to go up to vote in November. We contributed some input into the charter as it related to the Flood and Erosion Control Board or flood.
Becky, excuse me, Becky?
Yeah.
There's somehow, I don't know where your microphone is, but sometimes when you're speaking, it gets a little muffled.
Oh, okay. Let me, I will try and get closer. Is that better?
Yeah, that's great. I don't know if it was your distance or wherever the microphone is.
Yeah, I'm on a tablet, so I'm not actually sure where my microphone is.
Oh, okay, that sounds great.
So anyway, so we had given some input into the charter revision process as it related to the Flood and Erosion Control Board. They accepted most of our input. The final charter red line version that came out of the Board of Selectmen had two things that were a little bit different than we had anticipated. One is that the regular members of the Flood and Erosion Control Board just have to be nominated and approved by the Board of Selectmen. However, for some reason, alternates have to be approved by Board of Selectmen and also have to go in front of the RTM to be approved, which I had asked twice to be taken out because it didn't make any sense to me to have the alternates have to go in front of the RTM and the regular people just be approved by the Board of Selectmen. But they did not take it out again after having been asked twice. So I'm going to ask one more time because it still doesn't make any sense to me that they're requesting that. It seems like an extra step to have alternates have to go through that step, which frankly doesn't really make any sense. The other thing that they put in, which I think is a good thing, is that there will be a liaison from the town who will be attending our meetings going forward. They didn't specify who, but I'm assuming it would be someone from engineering, obviously, because this is primarily an engineering-driven board. So that is, I think, a good thing. A lot of boards have staff members who would regularly attend their meetings and even sometimes run them. So I think it would be very helpful for us to have a similar situation. So I think that's a good thing. So those were the two new things. Otherwise, I have no issues with the charter. I don't know if anyone else had any comments or read our section of them. Any questions on that? Because otherwise we'll go to the next item, which is update on the Penfield.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I comment, ask a question?
Yes, you may.
It seems to me that during the development of the charter revisions, there was something where all of the appointments by the Board of Selectmen would go to the RTM for final imprimatur stamp. I didn't read the whole thing through. It seems that does not appear universally. Might the one in flood and erosions section have been left inadvertently? Do you know, when you made the comment that what is this doing here, do you know that they actively discussed that in their meetings, or did they just ignore it and that's why it still remains there?
Well, I've brought this up to them twice in writing. And usually they're pretty good at reviewing all the written comments and discussing them. So I don't understand why this is still in there, but I will plan to follow up because I believe there's still a public comment period. So I will ask one more time in writing, why why it is that the alternates need to go through this extra step. But I did not listen to the recordings, Dick, if that's what you're asking. I did not go back and
I
listen.
mean, did they discuss it or did it go into the file? I don't know the answer to that, but that would be the first question. Because if they discussed it and there is a rationale, then the rationale could be discussed.
Yeah, I will ask for the rationale. And then maybe that's a better way to ask it this time. Instead of asking them to change it, maybe I will say, please give me the rationale for why this is this way.
I mean, at the worst case, they just can have the regular appointed members go to the RTM too, so what?
Well, to your point, originally it was that way. And I think they took that out. And maybe they just didn't take it out for the alternate, but then I don't know why they would have not taken it out once I had flagged it, so.
I think the term is wordsmithing or editing, one of the two.
Yeah, so I will
Thank
go back and ask yet again for clarification on that item. All right, the next is the update on the Penfield notice of violation. There's two points here. One is an update from Eli saying that we still do not have any response from FEMA in terms of when they're coming down, but there has been dialogue. So the good news is they're talking about it, but there doesn't seem to be a date they're going to come down and inspect. And then Greg, you were going to see if you could follow up with Attorney Pires and see.
Yeah, I reached out to him by email. I haven't heard back from him. I made it clear I'm more than happy to assist the town in any capacity. And he has not gotten back to me yet. There's got to be a way to get this resolved.
Yeah,
That's my starting point. And I've dealt with FEMA enough to know that you got to get it, you got to get to the right person, because the wrong person is going to find enough paperwork to tell you why it can't happen. So I'm going to follow up with Attorney Pires again. I think I'm going to reach out to Bill also and ask if there's anything he thinks I can do to help.
Bill Hurley.
You're correct.
Got it.
There's got to be a way. They can't just hold us up forever.
yeah. And this is being run by the Capital Projects Group, not Bill Hurley though. So Bill will probably say that he's not the one who's working.
Okay.
It's Eli who is the one who's working with FEMA.
Okay.
He wanted to reach out to Eli.
Yeah.
He's the one.
What's Eli's last name?
Gazal.
What is it?
Gazal. I think it's GH. No.
Oh, just simple GAZAL.
GHAZAL.
H. Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's okay.
Shut up.
I will be asking this on Thursday as well, but I think, Greg, I think it would be helpful if you could follow up as well. That way, particularly from a legal standpoint, I think Eli's probably not as well versed in some of the legal FEMA requirements.
We need to go at least two routes. The easy way is if we can get FEMA to move and get this resolved, but you always want to have the legal option in your back pocket.
Right.
You don't have to use it, but if FEMA knows that you've got it, sometimes that'll help them reach the right decision.
Yes.
There has to be a legal
Okay,
option.
that's what you're exploring? That's,
Yeah.
It's also an agency that's been decimated, so their response times may be.
There's almost certainly protocols in there that they have to act in a timely fashion, and that they're short-staffed is not an excuse on their part.
They're sad about my social security check.
All right. So that's the update that I have, which is not a lot, but at least the other thing that I'm going to be requesting in the Thursday meeting is that in our September meeting where we review the coastal inundation mapping that comes out of the modeling, I'm going to be asking them to share the 6 concepts that were done about a year ago to mitigate flooding at that site, just so we can at least start to see them and give some feedback as they start the next phase of their project, which is to come back with a recommended plan, concept, idea. All right, next agenda item is a report from the committee on and I'm calling it do nothing valuations, but Anish, if you have a different name for your committee, please.
Do nothing
and
committee.
I
Have to
will
come
update
out
it.
to something, otherwise we'll be do nothing people. That's funny. No, Becky, so Jim, Carol, and I met once, and I think we did come up with a high level approach on what we wanted to do. We shared that with you, Becky, in an email. I think you have that. I can quickly go over that. The idea was that we will, for all the streets that are prone to flooding, we will collect the data around the value of the property as well as the tax that's assessed against them. We'll have them classified by what is the property owned by the residents versus commercial versus town property, and then we will look at the data that Misha is collecting to see what's the elevation for each of these properties, and then we'll come up with some kind of a estimate of which properties could be negatively impacted depending on the level of the flood. That was the idea. I did reach out to Ross's office to get the data on the tax, etc. So I did get a large Excel spreadsheet with a lot of columns and no key on trying to decipher what each column is. So I'm going to take my property card and try to map it and see what each field means and which ones we want to use. And then I think when Caroline comes back, I wanted to ask her where we are with Misha's data collection and start mapping it, start stitching it together.
Okay, and question for you. I know we're doing the property revaluation. I'm not sure when the new tax base will be issued. Are you able to get any of that information from Ross?
No.
If we want to wait and do it based upon the new valuations rather than having to rerun this, or we could maybe just have him run a data
Yeah.
pool that matches whatever your ultimate data is with the new.
Yeah, I thought like we can use the current data, at least build a model, and then as the data gets refreshed, we can just overlay the new data on that. But at least we'll have an approach, we'll have a model that
Okay.
we can all feel comfortable with, even if the data is a bit stale.
That makes sense. Any
So
comments?
I think I just need to schedule the next meeting with Caroline and Jim to kind of start. Once I look through the data, which hopefully I'll be able to look through in the next few days, we need to get together and start building the model.
Great. Any comments from anyone else?
Seems like a smart approach.
Okay. That's all I had for today. Is there any other new business or any other business that anyone wants to bring up?
Are we ready for the storm after Erin? Because I don't think it's going to be Erin that gets us, but my son's telling me that the one after it's going to be the one that may get us.
Which one is that? I haven't heard that.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's named yet, but he's tracking Erin because we're here in Jersey and we're already feeling it on the coast and in the lagoon and in the bay, the water levels. But he said the one that could impact us when we get back up to Connecticut this weekend would be the one after. It's about 10 days or so behind, something like that. And that's what the one that they're tracking that would be coming up the coast, right? So this is why we were talking about NOV. This is why we've been talking about some of the projects down near the beach area, the stockpiling of sand, all those types of things. So do we feel we have even this is something we talked about, I think, practically in my first meeting. Do we feel we have the right response plan in place for any or all of these storms that may reach us?
I mean, I will say with confidence that the town has zero plans to mitigate flooding in the Penfield site. They've chosen not to do anything until the notice of violation is cleared. So I'm not even sure they would feel comfortable using what little stuff we do have stockpiled, which is now sitting in the DPW yard. Even if we were to put that back, it really wouldn't make much of a dune. It wasn't enough. It was 9 truckloads, and you need probably about 5 times that at least to make a 12 elevation 12 dune. So we are not prepared. I think
So it's happening this weekend? It's happening this weekend?
Oh, Erin's on the way up the coast, right? And then
Right.
we're talking, but we've been talking about this since June because when hurricane season starts, we start talking about it saying, are we prepared? So here we are now heading into September and the storms are starting to be named and start to come up the coast. And the question remains, Manish, are we prepared?
So I think that the short answer is we should probably send out another newsletter suggesting people get their go bags ready, because the only real preparation we can offer as a flood and erosion board at this point, we can't offer anything tangible of substance that's going to mitigate flooding. We can just make sure that there's minimal property damage and inconvenience to our residents, and that they're prepared to leave should the need arise.
I know there was a forum on that, right, Becky? You participated in that, correct?
Yeah, Tony Wang had done a coastal resiliency forum. I did share 5 tips. The town actually has a 96-hour plan. So they actually have a very good, strong plan in place in terms of alerting residents, what their crews are going to be doing. I did talk to Tim Bishop about how we could mitigate and use the tide gates to either act as a detention for some water, or as potential detention for some water should we get severe flooding. We can manage our tide gates, and he is prepared to do that. So what we do have available, the town is planning on doing. But right now we don't have any temporary structures, and we don't have any sand that we can deploy in front of Penfield at this point. So I think the key is to just make sure that our residents are prepared and that they know to listen to the town alerts, and that they should be signing up for the town alerts if they are not already.
Becky, am I allowed to ask a public question?
Sure.
What about that pile of sand at the marina? Do you know what that's for?
I wasn't aware there was a pile of sand at the marina. Where is it?
There was one in front of the, it's been there like 2 years, unless they got rid of it and I never noticed. It was in front of the Coast Guard thing.
It was on the beach in front of you're talking about where the channel is, sort of on the beach,
Yes.
of a mound. That's a good question. Maybe we could deploy that over to Penfield. That's still probably only about 3 truckloads though, so I don't think that would be enough.
There was. There has been.
The building in the water, you're saying?
No, it's just a big pot. They took it from, I'm not sure if it came from the Southport thing or what the deal was, but it's been there. Now watch, I'll go there
All
tonight.
the Southport sand got dumped out.
Somebody's
All the Southport
sandbox.
sand got dumped out on the clam beds, oyster beds.
Well, there was a pile, and last summer, it was there, and then it grew like all kinds of grass and everything over it. And then I believe it was cleaned up by the town, but now I don't remember if it was there last time, and I don't know where they put it. So I'm gonna have to look.
It's in the parking lot?
No,
It's
no,
on the
if you go, it's in front of the Coast Guard shack.
I know what you mean.
On the water side or the land
That's what I'm saying,
side?
between the shack and the water on the.
Oh,
on the
yes, I'm
sand?
sorry, in
Yeah.
between the shack and the water.
Yeah, okay.
It was there at the beginning of the season.
I didn't notice it when I was down there, but maybe I just didn't see it.
3 truckloads doesn't sound like a lot.
Nothing.
It's not, I don't think it's a lot, but maybe some is better than nothing, we could say.
I'm gonna go there after this and look.
Okay, well, I just wanted to see if there's anything we could do.
So our mailing list is about 261 people right now. It's not huge, but what we could do is ask the first selectman's newsletter to put out a reminder of what to do in the event of a big storm. So why don't we definitely plan on doing that?
Yeah, I mean, does the Fairfield EMS have any type of social channels as well? I wonder, I have to look. I know DPW does, so
Well, we could ask DPW to put it out. I'm sure that their social media. I don't know what their reach is.
I don't know.
I know that the first selectman's newsletter reaches about a third of the town. So that's pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, DPW has Instagram.
Can we put it in Fairfield Patch or something?
I mean, we could try to write a letter to the editor in the
I
past.
mean, I think you could just put it on the town of Fairfield. If you got it to Lisa, she could put it on the town of Fairfield Facebook and Instagram, and you could maybe put it in, submit it to the patch as an article and things like that. I maybe use some of the materials that were shared at the forum you were at, Becky, and I just think there's a lot going on in town at the moment, and it might be good for us to say, hey, things are starting to form. This is something we're focused on. Maybe it's time to republish some material so people can start to think about preparation.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, any other business for discussion? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Move.
A second?
Second.
Okay, so moved. Thank you all for attending. And hopefully we will not get the storm. It will stay offshore, and we'll see you all in September.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, thank you.